place for conversations. SDA Q&A. You're safe to speak your truth. Common ground, shared beliefs with lots of room for disagreement. Tell us all what you believe and let us see if we can challenge you. From all paths coming here to share their stories. Some have left this global church, some remain and defend her. Where are you on the path? Does Ellen still appeal to you? SDA Q&A, you are welcome here. 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 Oh, SDA Q&A, you are welcome here. SDA Q&A, you love me so much more than I could ever know. Your love is deeper than this world will ever show. And all of life's beauty shines around this moment now. The sky and the cliffs, they seem to change my life somehow. And I will never be the same. Will never be the same. Whoa, I will never never be the same ever again. Well, here I am waiting, Lord, my life is just for you. Please unfold all the plans that you would have me do. And if all the world's just a breath and nothing's here to stay, and all of the love we feel will save us anyway. And I will never be the same, will never be the same. Oh, I will never be the same, will never be the same ever again.
God's will is simple. The most wretched man in hell will not be Adolf Hitler. The most wretched man in hell, or woman, will not be one like Joe Stalin or some of these more modern devils. The most wretched person in hell will be a former Seventh-day Adventist.
Hello and welcome to SDA Q&A. Q&A. SDA Q&A. I think I need more coffee. A little bit distracted because for some reason we're not going live to some of our other platforms. And as it's an important show for me today 10 years ago, my 10th anniversary of leaving the Seventh-day Adventist Church. I'm keen to have people on the other platforms actually have a chance to see the program. So bear with me 1 minute and we'll see if we can fix that just on the fly. And I'll at least share the link into Facebook. It says on my screen that it is going live to Facebook. I don't know if any of you are watching on Facebook can share with me. Yeah, I'm cautious to press any reset buttons because that's what I did at 11:30, and the whole thing shut down, and I lost all my links. So that's why I'm a bit late today. Look, we're just going to have to hope that it shows up. Yeah, it definitely says it's going live to Facebook. The joys of going live, eh? Okay, well, I'm just going to have to leave it in the lap of the gods and take it all with a grain of salt. So, quick announcement. I'll bring it up onto the screen. Book Club, SDA Q&A Book Club. It's a great little community. Rochelle Anonymous hosts it, and there's a new time for it now. It's going to be Mondays 7 p.m. That's Pacific time, which is Tuesdays at noon Australian time, New South Wales. It's also in its own new group. It's a private, hidden group, so we can't actually invite people to it. You need to request to join it, and we will find a way to add you into the group. It's its own little messenger group and Facebook group, just so people can talk freely and discuss the content. Well, welcome everybody. Good to have you here. Again, apologies for the delays. Everything's just kind of gone a bit crazy today, and links disappearing and computer shutting down. But anyway, it is what it is. So let me just take a breath and a moment, and if Adrian could write to me in the comments at some point if we are going live to Facebook at least. Looks like we're going live now to Twitter. That's good. And yeah. Okay. So let's have a couple of comments from you guys just to get me relaxing. Frank writes, I never formally left. I just faded away. Good reference to Neil Young there, Frank. And Jude says, hi. Oh, thank you, Rick. Rick said the Warren Trenchard interviews were legit, Pete. Awesome stuff. They were long, 2 hours, the first one, 4.5 hours, the second one. But I just felt I was taking advantage of an opportunity that may not arise too often, to actually sit there and chat with such an incredible human being. I thought I've just got to keep him as long as possible. And we were enjoying the conversation together as well. So it just flowed nicely. But I think it's an important one. And I pretty much sat back and didn't talk much. Surprise, surprise. Okay, so today's program. Boy, it's hard to know where to begin with this one. But I wanted to celebrate and share some insights and ponderings and thoughts that I've had, as today is 10 years since I left the Seventh-day Adventist Church. So I want to share some of my thoughts, but I also would like some of your thoughts in the comments as well. Just as you think them, say them, away you go. I will bring some up onto the screen. I'm going to try and just concentrate for a moment, though, just on my own thoughts, and then I will come to the chat. I want to hear any questions you have, statements, comments, because I probably won't talk about it that much again for another 5 years. And it was a very significant time. So I'm just trying to work out where to start. 10 years since leaving and officially leaving. Some of you, as Frank has just pointed, haven't officially left, but you just kind of wouldn't call yourself an Adventist anymore. Some of you were kicked out, and some of you, took your name off the roll. So I just want to share a few memories of that day, the day that I left. And then I want to just summarize perhaps 3 reasons why I left. And then I'm going to read some comments from my leaving post. So let me tell you about the leaving post. And just let me know if you can hear me okay in the comments. It's harder when you're just on your own chatting. Sadly, we're just not being seen in Facebook, which just annoys me a bit. But anyway, I'll put that behind me. Okay, so at some point prior to 10 years ago, I had watched the no vote. I think that's 2015. The famous no vote. This was a vote from the General Conference, the top guys, ensuring that women's ordination was not going to go through. The vote had actually been that people in their own unions can decide, or divisions can decide for themselves, if the women's ordination vote would be a yes or a no where they were. So this was a vote to see if that would go ahead or just be squashed right across the board. Those of you that have done any research on Ellen G. White will know that she actually helped set up the unions around the world, specifically giving them a lot of autonomy, authority to run things as they saw fit, socially and culturally, on the ground where they were. So, for example, the South Pacific Division, the unions in this part of the world, I think the NAD as well, were all gearing up. Also in Norway, the Norwegian unions were all gearing up to go ahead and ordain women. So Ellen White had set this up so that the unions and divisions could decide for themselves. But the kingly powers that be decided to override that. And so I was sitting there one night with Renee in my lap. She was about 2. And I was watching the Antonio no vote unfolding on YouTube only days later. And it hit me how I didn't want to put my name to that anymore, to a church that was going to treat women as a second-class citizen, second-class members. It hit me that as I'm holding Renee, and I took a video of it. It's literally on YouTube if you search. It's one of the very first ones in the video section of me. Renee is sitting next to me, and it was literally seconds after I'd watched it all. And I just remember and by the way, I don't care where you land on whether women should be ordained or not. My main issue is that people get to decide for themselves, and collectively in this part of the world, it seemed, though now I'm starting to doubt it, that people behind the scenes were supporting it, and it seemed like it was going to go ahead. So for me, I'm talking about me personally. I don't judge where you decide and land on. I just like people being able to speak freely about what they believe if they want to talk about it. So anyway, for me, I sat there, 2-year-old Renee next to me, and I had this overwhelming feeling of, I can't put my name to this anymore. This movement, this denomination, at this time in the world, is not allowing women the opportunity to explore employment at higher levels in the church or as ordained pastors. And so a few days later, I was chatting with my bass player. We were driving somewhere, and I said to him, come my next birthday, I am not going to be a Seventh-day Adventist anymore. And so I then kind of popped that in the back of my brain for a little bit. Didn't think too much about it. And, 9 months passed or whatever. And I'm sitting there on Friday evening in Australia, the 15th of April, and 10 years ago, and I realize that the next week is my birthday. And I thought to myself, whoa, hang on a second. I'd made a out loud statement to my good friend that I wasn't going to be a Seventh-day Adventist by the time it was my next birthday. And I thought, what am I going to do with that? What does that mean? Am I going to leave? And I could just feel this welling up inside of me. So this is a Friday around 4:30 in the afternoon. And I'm like, it's like, when you're about to dive off a very high diving board, if you've done that before, and there's that moment where you're almost feeling compelled to jump. You don't kind of want to anymore, but you've climbed up to that position, and I could feel an internal sense of motion moving me closer and closer to the edge of the diving board. And I thought, I'm going to jump. And so I got my phone and I began typing on Facebook a message. I'm going to read that to you right now. I wanted to share and show this on the screen, but again, I had these link problems that aren't resolved. So I'm just going to have to read it to you. This is what I wrote around 4:30 that day, 10 years ago today. This is my last Sabbath as a Seventh-day Adventist. Come sunset tomorrow, I am no longer SDA. I love my SDA family and friends, and that won't change. I know that those who care about me will continue to do so. I hope to continue healthy and rewarding connections with the people I've grown to love over my whole life as a Seventh-day Adventist. To call this a difficult decision would be an understatement. I've been a 5th generation SDA. To disconnect feels like a surgical procedure. But I can no longer align myself to this denomination. I am still me. I hope you understand and accept me as I am. Thank you. In the post, I actually wrote 4th generation, but later found out that I was 5th generation. So I sat there with the phone hovering above the post button, press post. I'd written it, but I hadn't posted it. And honestly, I sat there for about 3 hours. And my wife came in and she said, "You okay? You've been sitting in here a long time." And I hadn't really chatted to her at all about this decision. It felt such a primal, internal, externally driven moment that had just kind of been deeper in my subconscious and had just percolated out again. And my statement to my bass player friend that I wouldn't be an Adventist by the time I reached my next birthday had just been so behind the scenes, deep down in my brain. So here I was suddenly writing what I'd just read out and about to post it. And she could see that I was a bit emotional, I guess is the word. I was feeling the moment, and it felt huge to me. And so anyway, I sat there and I, at about sunset, pressed bang, post. This is my last Sabbath as a Seventh-day Adventist. And honestly, hand on heart, 10 years ago, I thought I would only get 30, 40 likes, 10, 20 comments. I didn't think it would have the impact it was about to have. As I look at the post right now, April 15, 2016, if anyone wants to look up on my wall, I can see that over the last 10 years, some people have actually deleted their comments. What unfolded was about 1,400 comments and sub-comments to those comments, and well over I can't remember, but 1,000 or so likes or emoji thingies. And I thought, wow, this has hit a nerve. Now, obviously, doing SDA Q&A over this time, some people have revisited what they've said on the post and decided that they might remove it. And that's okay. I'm just saying that I wish I did screenshot some of it back then, but only I think a year or so later. But I wish I'd got all of the messages and comments, because I think they would have been of quite interest, especially now. So here's the thing. I posted it. I looked in the next day to see if it had any reaction. And I saw the incredible response. And by the Sunday morning, I realized that I wasn't going to engage with that post. It was too explosive, too many thoughts and ideas. In fact, every possible opinion of me was presented in that post. People liking what I'd done, people supporting, people saying that they were glad that I'd gone. People speculating why I had left, all sorts of stuff. And I thought, if I engage with this, I will just fuel the flames of what was a personal, decisive, I'm out of here moment. And I felt that I'd made it pretty clear in my actual post that, you know, I wasn't angry with anybody. It was my decision. I couldn't align anymore. And I didn't even read many of the comments. I read enough to know there was a variety, but maybe I might have read 10, 20, 30 comments, and I didn't reply to anybody. I didn't hit the like button or love heart button on anything. It just remained, bang, a creative piece of artwork, a statement of my direction plonked into Facebook. And I thought, I'm just going to let people respond as they desire. So here we are 10 years later. I am going to go in and read a lot of the comments for the first time. There's still over 1,000 comments there. And like I said, I've probably read 20 or 30 10 years ago. I did refer to this, I think, last year when I said it was my 9th anniversary. I think I did read a couple then. But the point is, I basically didn't engage with it. On the Sunday, my dad came over, put his arms around my shoulders, and he and I hadn't talked. I didn't know what he was going to say. And he said, "Son, you've done the right thing." And that felt very affirming. I essentially, and he confirmed his thoughts on this, what he respected was that I was using my own mind, looking at the data, drawing my own conclusions. And that's been a big theme for everything that I do. I love to put my 2 cents in, get to know what people believe, challenge them a little bit, cajole here and there. But essentially, I love when people come to me and say, look, I've looked at this deeply, and this is the conclusion I've drawn. And Adventism seems to be one hot mess of non-drawn conclusions, just speculation, reverse engineering. And so I wrote one reply at the end. I don't know if I can find it. I'll see if I come across it later. But it was words to the effect of, by the way, I'm not upset with any person or church. It's not about being hurt. I've just left for personal reasons. I didn't even unpack about the women's ordination because I knew it was probably deeper than that. But that was the tipping point, the women's ordination, and holding little 2-year-old Renee and going, I can't put my name to that anymore. So I'm going to read some of the comments for fun. You might hear your name called out because I'm going to name people, and obviously I'm not going to read all, but I'm just going to quickly go down and read some of them for a few minutes. Later today, I'm going to sit out there in my spa, and I'm going to begin reading the whole lot. 10 years later, it's time for me to read the whole lot. And I may even write some comments and thank yous and thoughts as I go. But largely speaking, I just left it alone, and we'll now look at some comments. But I just wanted to share, because a lot of people have said to me, why did you leave? And I just wrote down 3 things that popped into my mind this morning. And there's probably so many more. But these 3 things keep popping up over my last 10 years. SDAQ&A itself has been around for about 12 years. The last 5 years has been very intentional, and I've been very focused on building it as a platform. And it's exciting to see that, we've got nearly 4,000 members on YouTube and 4,000 in SDA Q&A nearly, 2 or 3,000 over there on voice. And so I've been intentional in the last 5 years. And in the last 5 years, I think we've reached over 500 interviews. Each interview, as you know, is long form. And so these 3 things have kind of kept coming up. So I'm just going to read let you know these 3 things, read some comments from the leaving post, and then I'm just going to look at some of your comments and thoughts and answer any questions that you might have as well. Okay, so and as I said, I wish I could bring this onto the screen, but the links and the sharing, it's just not allowing me to do it today. So you'll just have to put up with me reading it, and I may even work out a way to share it somewhere on a site where you can go and read it at your leisure. So first comment off the bat, and again, I didn't love heart, reply to any of these as far as I'm, can remember. So first off was Graham Fraunfelder, and he wrote, my friendship, acceptance, and love for you is always there. Ross Cole wrote, I accept you and love you unconditionally, mate. And I've done a couple of interviews with Ross Cole and Graham over the years, so I hope they still think that. If they're watching today, let me know. And Kay Judge, who has had in the last 10 years quite a lot of back and forth with me, disagreeing quite a bit. So this is what she said 10 years ago, though. Lots of courage, but nothing has changed between you and God. That is what counts. This typifies a lot of what people said about me, which I found absolutely fascinating from a sociological perspective. I'm an observer. I found a lot of people clearly stated what it was I believed and why I left. There were lots of statements of fact, not said in a speculative way, but just, yeah. So that's just an example. And she added, and we will all just be children of God in heaven, no denominations. Great that we can practice kingdom living now. I feel your pain, and I'm sure there are many that are not so proud to be attached to the label as they once were. And I think she was realizing that that perhaps the women's ordination thing had been the tipping point for me. Martin Marion Miles wrote, your relationship with God, that's what's most important. Friends always, Marion. Victoria Hamilton Russell wrote, those who know and love you surely don't love you because of your religion, but because of the person you are inside. This essential nature of you will remain. Wishing you love and acceptance as you readjust. Martin Fawkes wrote, all the best, Peter. You're a good man, whatever that means, and a brave and inclusive one. That is good. That much I know. Jeff Parker, who may not say this now, he and I have had some disagreements, but I certainly, this is the biggest thing I've learned. I've learned to know who I am because I get so much love, criticism, everything you can think of, literally everything you can think of has been thrown at me from every perspective. I've learned who I am. I feel very strong in my knowledge of my identity, of who I am, and I'm happy. And I've learned that I can really disagree with people to the point of quite robust conversations, but that I really like them as well. And Jeff would be one of these people. We'll always love and respect you, Peter. Josephine Mackay wrote, this has hit me like a rock. McKay, I should say. Are you okay, Peter? Is there anything we can do? You are still our friend and your beautiful family. And I know Josephine often still writes and watches the show, so thank you very much, Josephine. Stuart Woods wrote, "It'd be hard for you." Jeffrey Pankhurst wrote, "I will still count you as a friend, Peter. Don't give up your faith in God." Diane Faye Miller wrote, "Good for you. I'm not SDA and never would be. Your true friends will stand by you. Those that don't never were." And Mandy Jane Emmanuel, are you moving from Kurrambong too, Peter? By the way, as I dropped in and read a couple of these things years ago, I do remember realizing there was a lot of humor there. Mandy's husband sadly passed was Phil Emmanuel, Tommy Emmanuel's brother, and he and I did some wonderful gigs at Adventist churches and other places as well. Wendy Patterson wrote, "I understand completely." Sadie Morris wrote, "That must have been a very, very difficult decision. Stay close to God anyway. For living with Christ, you don't need to be SDA." Michelle Whiting wrote, "I completely understand. I just call myself a Christian now. Have beautiful memories of growing up in the church." Shania Hills Perry, "Understand exactly." Carl Winchcombe wrote, "Don't go." Michael Wind wrote, "Welcome to the dark side, Peter Dixon. The Force awakens." Carol Winch Davis wrote, "Peter, you love God. Jesus died for us all. Religion has a lot to answer for. Where two or three are gathered in his name." David Riley. I didn't realize that David had written to me back then. Would love to hear what has led you to this point in your journey. Sadly, the church is a very human organization and imperfect, much like myself. A lot of people since this time have said that to me. Why did you leave? And that's why I've shared the oh, did I just read one thing before? Sorry. I started looking at 3 things and then I don't think I read them. So let me just quickly back up. The 3 reasons I left, did I? Anyway, I'll say them again now as it pertains to what David just said. So the first thing was I couldn't align with how the church treats women as second-class citizens. No, 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 for me personally. I remember that photo that I spoke on, did a whole few shows on, where mainly men were represented in the photo of the union leaders. I don't care if they are only men that gravitate to that job. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about equality of opportunity. Of the 23 jobs represented in that photo, only 10 were open to women because of ordination. You had to be ordained to get those jobs. So don't tell me, SPD and union leaders who behind the scenes say you're supporting women, don't tell me that it's not a big deal. It is a huge deal. I was shocked when one of the insiders told me that 10 of the 23 jobs are available to women. The rest they can't even think about applying for. So that one, treating women as second-class citizens. I also, secondly, couldn't put my name to the church's core teachings. I'd always felt they were unbiblical, but I'd stayed because I was a progressive, gospel-based Adventist, and I felt that surely the church would gradually move towards a more biblical focus. And when I realized, which is point number 3, that these core teachings I just couldn't align with, they are absolutely unbiblical. Scapegoat, atonement not finished at the cross, 1844 investigative judgment. There are so many unbiblical teachings at the core of Adventism that I couldn't go along with. And thirdly, when I realized that the progressives, of which I was one, but the ones above me, the leaders, had no plan of attack, had just these whimsical notions of things are changing. La 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 la, happy Sabbath, things are changing. But nothing was changing. And I realized that they knew it. And there was a delusion and a disingenuous nature to the way they spoke. I didn't like, and I've learnt this over my 5 years, how they approached the whole Des Ford Glacier view scenario. On the one hand, they wanted to keep their jobs, but on the other hand, they wanted progress. So they went underground. And I forgive and forget then, but 46 years later, I think you guys are still doing that. So I realized that the progressives had no plan. They weren't cohesive. They weren't in any way trying to create an independent ministry within the Adventist Church to gain a foothold, to have influence, to positively reach out to young people. And I realized that somewhere between 40 and 60% of young Adventists leave the church. So that's how important it is for the progressives to shout their alleged beautiful Adventist gem from the rooftops, and they don't. So I realized they don't. I realized they have no plan to ever do so. And I realized that not only that, they offered false hope. So those 3 things, the women being treated as second-class citizens, second-class membership, whatever you call it, I couldn't put my name to the cray-cray beliefs. They're so unbiblical, honestly. Who says Satan's the scapegoat when everyone knows that any sacrificial lamb or offering has to be with a perfect, sinless creature? Satan was not perfect or sinless. How can he be the scapegoat? That's one little thing. And thirdly, that the progressives had no plan, had failed in their attempts, their lack of attempt, to have influence and a foothold, had consistently failed for well over 100 years, and were offering false hope. And then when I watched the no vote, that was it. I was gone. So David Riley, 10 years later, that's my answer. Timothea Willis, where he leads, you must follow. Love and luck for your next move. Kelvin Hart, baby, come back. I know Kelvin, he's been very funny there. Linda Charge, I don't know you, and I'm sure you have your reasons, but it saddens me to hear that. I understand the struggles. I left a few times, but God led me back. So no matter what I feel or others feel about me, I'm here to stay, no matter the problems. And there has been plenty, and I feel like leaving, but I know God kept bringing me back. So I'm here to stay no matter what. May God lead you to where you need to be. Stephen Heath, I hope God sends a whale for you. See you in Nineveh in 3 days. Oh dear. And look, there's so many replies to comments as well. I won't go into all of those. You can be whatever you want to be. Alwyn Gillis. Nolene Brown writes, I wish you well, Peter. It's an enormous decision to make. I did it 34 years ago. I'm still very much a Christian, only without a handle, and have never been so happy or so blessed. There will be difficult times ahead, but hang in there and know that God has so much in store for you. My reason for leaving was theological, and the decision to leave took a long time. But when I was introduced to the true gospel, everything changed. I share the same grandfather as Lester Lemke, and after multiple generations in the church, it was very difficult. And even though most people did not understand, and in most cases did not want to know, I have never regretted my decision. God bless you. Janelle Montgomery wrote, well, if there's no sunset tomorrow and it's the end of the world, it's all your fault then. I shall be watching at sunset for the end or beginning. Either way, I wish you peace. Wendy Patterson wrote, Peter, I've known you for a long time and I understand completely. I was forced to resign from the church because all kinds of things were threatened and I could have gone on being a happy little SDA, but the church didn't care about me. They just cared about the church. Bacon is the best. I don't know why you have made this decision, but I say good on you. Ken Marsh, mate, I can't pretend I understand to know how you're feeling, but I feel there must be real pain, hoping and praying that whatever led you to this decision and whatever follows, that everything works out well. Okay, I'm just going to skip through a few. Rosalind Brown writes, oh no, Peter, I hope it's not because you have been hurt by one of us. Do what you have to, but never forget when God says, remember, here's something really important to say, Christian love. Lester Lemke, who had just been mentioned, wrote, I have been there, Peter. My grandfather was one of the founding fathers of the church in Australia, and many will not understand and will even turn against you, but your real friends will stay the course with you. The road you have chosen is not easy, but it is being true to yourself, and I believe God and all real Christians will honour that. Be of good courage, my friend. I honour you and have great respect for your faith and courage. Michelle Roberts writes, I am somewhat interested to hear what has happened in your journey to lead you to this decision, as it sounds like this is Norm Young's daughter, by the way, Dr. Norm Young, wonderful person. I think that's who it is. I might have that wrong. As it sounds like it has not been an easy one. My experience and exposure to lots of religions is that they all have their challenges. I could not say I'm a great practicing SDA, but have very fond memories of the opportunities and experiences that being part of a church brought me. I wish you well in your journey and hope that your relationship with Christ is refreshed. My friendship won't change. And that in there is a little comment about all religions have their challenges. I guess for me, my theory is that Adventism is not a benign Protestant religion. They all have their problems. They all have different foibles. They all have strange doctrines. But Adventism, Mormonism, and Jehovah's Witness, the JWs, those three have a lot of content on YouTube where people are, pushing back and revealing in markedly high proportions, and I feel like people don't think carefully enough about this movement, Seventh-day Adventism. It's not just a Christian movement that keeps Saturday instead of Sunday. And sure, if you're a cultural Adventist, you may never realize or know, good on you, any of these deeper, darker beliefs. And if you're a progressive and choose to keep your head in the sand like an ostrich, you may well just have your nice little Sabbath school classes where you can meet behind closed doors and build your own little community that's quite private, and have a kind of gospel that works for you. I'm not criticizing or judging that. Be a progressive, be a traditional, be a leader, be cultural, be whatever you want. But for those, many of us who have left, and many on the edges, and many deep within the Adventist Church, actually observe that a lot of the doctrines still simmer and stir way in the background, even if they're way out of your line of sight. You are downstream, progressive, liberal, gospel, traditional, cultural, leadership, whatever you are as an Adventist, you are downstream of something that's not benign. Go and look deeply into The Great Controversy, a book that is incredibly promoted. Go and, if or not, just keep doing what you want to do. That's okay. But in my humble opinion, it's not just, well, all churches have their problems. I am getting some comments coming through, maybe from Facebook. Yeah. Okay, we won't read too many more of these, but I got quite a lot of comments from friends that aren't Adventists as well. Must have been a difficult decision, sending much love, brave soul. Jeff Drewer wrote, it must be a tough decision. I don't agree with everything our church does, but I love my local church and it loves me. I get back to bask in warmth of similarly, but not identically minded people wherever you go. Please stay in community. After all, that is what church is. You know, it's funny, people say, oh, you've left, but really you haven't. You're still involved. Yeah, I get that a lot. But I'm 100% never going to go back to being an Adventist. I 100% enjoy the friends that have stuck around still. I 100% have my own little community. You know, we meet online and occasionally at a cafe near where I live, of like-minded souls. I very much have that sense of community. And I could easily just enjoy the local church. That's great. You know, there's several in my area that are wonderful. You know, Happy Sabbath, Haystacks, potluck, lunch. You feel very warmly welcomed, cultural, great music. But I think I'm trying to step back, and maybe having my daughters later in life, I saw a big picture that, sure, I could be happy in a local church setting and have just kept on going and enjoying the cultural side of Adventism and the progressive focus on just Jesus alone. But I saw a bigger picture that made me concerned about how Adventism's a little bit like a sales funnel, like a Amway, like a pyramid scheme, where its members are largely used. There's not a lot of pastoral care. And sure, a local church where you feel comfortable, it'll be because of that local pastor and the local community that fellowship together. It's not because of the big church efforts. They're all about numbers, bringing in the money, bringing in more people. They're very focused on the scripted, come into the church. Hey, we need money for these new things. I just saw a big ad for North New South Wales Conference, their social media campaign, where they want to facilitate and offer ways to help build social media awareness and progress within the conference. And it was just presented so smoothly, scripted. And I just feel that, yeah, great if your local church is working, but as a collective, it's one big pyramid marketing scheme with a goal of building its numbers, running schemes to do so, and bringing in the money. There is not a lot of pastoral care. I had two people contact me. One of them was Norm Young, and he visited, and we sat in my courtyard and chatted, and he wanted to reassure me that, you know, he appreciated me as a friend, and he appreciated the music and contribution I'd given to the young people over the years. And he tried to say that, you know, Adventism can be a broad collective of diverse people. And that's where I had to disagree with him. And in the last 5 years, that awareness has absolutely just been totally revealed to me, that you cannot be every kind of Adventist you want to be, because when you are shut down. So there's a machine, there's a collective. Adventism as a collective Forget your anomalies of great little local church and, oh, I've got my little Sabbath school and, oh, we meet behind the scenes and we think things are going to change. Forget about that. Collectively, it is a leadership-driven, traditional teaching machine that accepts cultural Adventists because it hopes that they will eventually become more giving financially and of their time. But as soon as you try and speak up and share what your Adventism is, if it differs to the Ellen G. White dripped, marinated version, you will soon find out that I am correct in my assessment that you can't be a diverse Adventist. It just doesn't happen. Kelvin Hart wrote, have you been locked out of the library? The college library or the university. Glenn Lowe, good mate from school, wrote, strong move, mate. And yeah, I'm looking forward to actually spending some time this afternoon where there's some really long and wonderful comments. But I don't want to bore you with all of that stuff. Oh, Rainda Bruinsma wrote to me back then. Wow. Your post is yet another and he's been on the show a few times. He's kind of a leader of the progressive Adventist movement, I guess. Great guy. Written some really good books. He's going to be on the show, I think, next week or the week after, talking about his latest book. But he wrote back then, 10 years ago, your post is yet another confirmation that I'm doing the right thing in writing a book that will be published in a few months' time. It will be entitled Facing Doubt, a book for Adventist believers in the margin. I've struggled myself for a long time with the question whether or not I can stay in the church. I've decided to stay, but I can sympathize with those who say they cannot conscientiously remain an SDA. Blessings and courage. Yeah, I really appreciated and have appreciated connecting with him over the years. Okay, wow. Yeah, so like I said, there's 1,100 comments still there, and many of those comments have replies underneath them. And by and large, I'm capturing what you've heard so far in essence of what things said. There were some nasty ones down the track. My sister wrote, about time, feeling proud. Yeah, so there was a lot of good ones. There was some, oh, Angela Lima. I'm done with this church as well, and presently looking for another faith community. All the best to you, Peter. It's hard to cut the cord, but once you do, freedom rings. Thank you, Angela. I think Angela's watching right now. And yeah, I'm going to treasure this. I'm going to try and print it out as well, just for my own dossier. Gilbert Kanji writes, Peter, and Gilbert was right up there at the GC level, a much loved Adventist from this part of the world. Peter, I must confess some grief here, though I totally respect your decision. And I know that we are still brothers. If you were John on the island of Patmos and were impressed to write a letter to our church, what would you write? Wow. Yes. Well, I guess my 5 years of SDA Q&A are what I would write. And I am working on a book. Catherine Madgwick wrote, I accept you as you, Peter Dixon, SDA or not. Okay. Good friend Bruno Gaeta, who played keyboard for me many years ago in the 80s. He wrote, this can't have been an easy decision. Full respect for being so honest with yourself. You know that we are always there for you. If you want to talk or jam. Karen Wallace, who I really appreciate as a wonderful Christian human being, wrote, what courage it takes to write this post and share publicly your decision. My heart aches and I am saddened that the church will lose your membership. But this is a reflection on an organization, not a comment on your relationship with God. You are still my brother in Christ and part of the family of God. Admire and love you, Peter, and always will. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Look, and thank you to everybody that wrote there. I can see comments. Wow. As I said, I've not read this, in any depth for 10 years. It's 10 years ago today that I left. Yeah, there's a few more there saying, yeah, you say you've left, but you're still around. You can't. No, this is 10 years ago. You say you've left, but you'll never get it out of your system. Someone else wrote, you're an honest man. Many of us just drift away. I respect that people leave. Frank Marandino, a good friend of mine, and always does a wonderful Good News Fellowship every week. Little plug, Thursday Pacific time, 6:30 p.m. Australia, 11:30 a.m. on Fridays. I would recommend, my advice, do whatever you want. I'm not telling people what to do. I just sometimes say my thoughts. If you would consider yourself someone that has left the church but haven't taken your name off the roll, I'd recommend that you actually take your name off the roll, because they use the numbers very successfully. So if everybody that has, I think I read something like over 60 million people have left the Adventist church since the 60s, or is that 40 million? Might be 40 million. A lot have left the Adventist church since the 60s. Imagine if they all wrote in, because I'm guessing that 80% of Adventists who leave don't take their name off the rolls. Something to consider. Oh, there's so many good comments that I'm just seeing popping up. But look, I'm going to leave it there. And we'll just see if I can go right to the end. Lots of people saying, please stay. Make a change from within. John Menzies writes, I made that decision about 10 years ago, so he's now hitting 20 years. Go with your heart. All my real SDA friends and colleagues don't treat me any differently. Yeah, actually largely very positive. Oh, Linnell Laws, that surprised me, and she had 26 replies. Well, it would take me a long time to reply to everybody. But she wrote, and Linnell used to invite me a lot to do music for various things that she was running in New Zealand. I don't think it's a bold move at all. I think it's cowardly. And I know you won't take offense to my saying so, Peter. As a person below said, when there is trouble in your family, you don't run off and change your surname. Heather Dawn Small, head of women's ministries at the GC, the General Conference, has just returned from the United Nations Conference on Women and Their Worldwide Needs, and she has presented to the Adventist Council, a woman of God doing what she can and expecting the rest of us to help her. The family can't help if the family isn't a family. Musos are passionate and rash. Let God talk to you this Sabbath and everyone after. Don't let the huge following you have see you give up. Our teenagers need you. God needs you. The family needs you. And listen to Darren Pratt over the fence when he gets home. Better still, go help him and take your girls to Stewart Point Camp today, which is literally on at the moment too. Actually, this is a very interesting little thread. I would say that Linnell was upset with me for leaving, and I would certainly like to say that her kids are amazing, and in the last 10 years, I've caught up with a couple of them, and I certainly still feel connected, and that my music, if it ever helped anybody or touched anybody, that hasn't been disconnected at all. I just don't think this family of Adventism, people within Adventism, are part of my family, but Adventism itself as a collective is not my family. I feel that when I left, I took off the ill-fitting jacket labeled Seventh Adventist name tag, and I took it off, and underneath was the real me, and the real me kept family connections with people that were in the Adventist church, people in the, I've performed at everywhere from pubs to New Age festivals, folk music, bush dancing, country music, rock music, Adventist, all denominations. Since about 1983, I have been able to find family members in all of those communities. And with this podcast, with this YouTube channel and Facebook group, I've forged very deep friendships with people of all walks of life. And I hope, Linnell, that we are still friends. I am just going to read a couple of the replies to that, because I just hadn't come across her one, but I remember reading that one. Lisa Jane wrote, I think that if Peter did talk to Darren would show more compassion, acceptance, and grace than you just have, Linnell. I just know from experience that Darren is accepting of people's decisions and don't try and manipulate or bully into doing what you think is right. And I thank you for that, Darren. And Linnell wrote, Peter and I have a good understanding. Yeah, Linnell and I certainly wouldn't say that Linnell and I have had a falling out, in spite of that rather calling me a coward. I kind of don't really mind what people think about me, because I can't control any of that. Can you hear my daughters laughing in the background? What a joy. There's Renee and Ruby right now, just outside the studio. Write in the comments if you can hear that. That's my family. My sister, thank you for supporting, wrote, I do think this is a little offensive, Linnell. I'm so glad he's finally made the right decision. It will be up to you now to continue to brainwash your young people, and I'm sure you will still succeed without Peter's help. Oh, and you say rash. Trust me, this was not a rash decision. Bob Sonta writes, in my experience, whatever else Peter may be, he's certainly not a coward. Oh, thanks, Bob. We must be careful not to project our own fears onto others when they act in a way that we do not understand. Jean Stanley writes, Amen. Oh no, she's writing amen to another comment. Jewel Tamaki wrote, Hi Karen, to my sister. I'm a 17-year-old girl who has been brought up in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. I've always been a very opinionated person and can absolutely stand up for myself. In no way am I being brainwashed by this church, as I can make up my own mind as to what I want to believe in and follow. I'm appalled at how much you have underestimated young people in the church. We are not conforming to what people tell us to believe. We are constantly asking questions and trying to figure out what is true. I was very sad to read Peter's post this morning, as I've known him most of my life and have really looked up to him as a musician and a Christian in our church. Thank you, Jewel. And again, I have not even read, I didn't even read that comment. Not because I wanted to ignore everybody's comment. It was because it was so monumental. I knew I needed to put time between me and this whole, you can tell even now, you can tell that it had an impact. So 10 years later, I feel like I'm able to look in again. And Jewel, I'm going to write to you later. I'd love to have you come on the program and maybe share your thoughts. 10 years later, you're 27 now. Yeah. Yeah, there's some other comments. David Stochovic writes, why, Peter? Your post states your decision but does not give any reasons for it. Someone once said that the truth is like a ring of a bell. Once it rings, it cannot be unrung. I rang that bell and I'm not unringing it. I'm proud of that moment where I stood up. Very few people who are marinated in Adventism, 5th generation was I. Very few. And I was 54 when I left. Do the maths. I'm very proud of the me that stood up then and said, this is my last Sabbath. I've grown so much over the last 10 years, just being my own person. I don't want to say people should leave or stay or, I share my opinions, but I truly value in people decide for themselves. And David is saying there, you haven't given any reasons. Yeah, that's again, 10 years later, I'm sharing some, but my podcast has been going for 5 years intensely and well before I left as well, a couple of years. So there's plenty of reasons given. Robert Steed wrote, sad to hear of your announcement. You've been an important part of the church family. God bless you. I did get a few messages from people saying, oh, we're going to miss you and, all the best with your life. And one person literally lives in my town said that to me in an email. And I said, well, okay, no worries. See you at the local takeaway. And I've often bumped into them. I'm not dead. Simon Rye wrote, just remember denominations aren't perfect. I agree. And I didn't leave because I wanted a perfect denomination. I wanted core theological teachings that aligned with my beliefs at the time. And I wanted a movement that did not place women down the ladder. They were and are very disrespectful of women. And they coated over with nice, smarmy, swami, smooth, chocolate-coated, scripted messages, but they disgust me at a leadership level, of how behind the scenes they say, oh, we support women in ministry, and they do nothing. And honestly, 6 months ago, I think it was, the recent union meetings here, where they had a chance to move, they did nothing. Their silence makes them, what's the word for it? I'm going to do a show for it. I made a thumbnail up. Complicit. Their silence makes them complicit. Okay, so yeah, it's going to be hard to stop reading this as I scroll down and see the names. There's memes and everything. Wow. Okay, so we will leave that there. I don't know if we're going live into Facebook at all. I haven't heard from anybody. I'm now, okay, I've just come back into the screen where I can see the studio. I feel like I've been a little bit lost in my world there for a while, but I did want to share. So I'm going to come now to some comments and then say farewell. So I'm just backing up a little bit to see what I missed while I was reading all that. And I'm interested, now's the good time if you've got any questions, thoughts, because generally speaking, I like to ask, even though I share my point of view often, I'm generally interested in hearing what people believe and can they defend it, why they believe it. I don't, and even when I share my opinions, I don't really like to share my belief claims. I think that I like to find common ground. Actually, I just wanted to read just quickly. Yeah. On the promo, just trying to quickly find it. It's so weird because it says I'm live. Yeah, I just wanted to read a couple of, oh, there's so many now, I didn't realize overnight. I just wanted to read a couple of comments on the promo post for today, which I put up, I think, yesterday. Jar V wrote, "Good riddance." And Jean Hallett wrote back, "Wow, you sound like one of those gospel Adventists." And Louise Sharrock wrote, "Wow, Jar, this is very sad, but not entirely surprising response. Let's just learn from each other and try to understand, however complex." And look, here's an interesting thing, Jar. Some of you will have noticed in the last 12 months that, Jar, I kind of agree with you. And maybe you've not watched any shows. I'll write you a message later. But yes, I do believe the progressive Adventists need to get out of your hair. You're obviously a traditional Adventist, someone that likes the historical teachings. And to be honest, your beliefs are more in line with Ellen White's and core Adventist teachings. So yes, I think all traditional Adventists cheer when a progressive Adventist leaves. And I kind of cheer and go, yeah, good riddance to you lot. You're unraveling Adventism. I don't agree with either of your belief claims. I don't agree anymore with either of your ideologies. The progressive Adventist, who's all talk and no common sense and not proud enough to shout your belief from the rooftops. and filled with weird sense of justifying your stance by saying, but we love the Sabbath. But you know full well, and you say we love the Sabbath, it's not salvific. But you know full well that the church's whole reason for being is the Sabbath is salvific. You don't keep it, you don't go to heaven. That's the core Adventist teaching on the Sabbath. And to be disingenuous and say, oh, but ours is different, we've progressed from that, knowing full well that the Adventist church at its core has not progressed from that, cannot progress from that, and will not progress from that. I say good riddance to any progressives that leave. So ironically there, Ja, we agree. I'll be inviting you onto the show. Gail Webster, good friend of mine, falls into the same camp as Linnell Laws in being a bit disgruntled with me. Common ground, she says. Do we have any? Have you found anywhere more accurate than Adventism that still retains all the necessary and important basic biblical teachings? So many people who have left the church and criticize it cannot fault our doctrines. Well, I just did before about the scapegoat. Atonement not at the cross. Watch some shows, Gail. I don't think you've watched any, but I still really value your friendship. Isn't that ironic? She's a great person, really, really lovely person. And I like that she can shoot from the hip and tell me honestly how she feels. I love when progressives and traditional Adventists push back. Good on you. And Rick writes, God, you should come on the show and explain what you believe. I've had her former husband on the show several times. And Goulaby, I forget how to pronounce that. Ramos says, what do you mean by leaving post? I think he thought I was leaving now. No, I meant from 10 years ago, my leaving post of 10 years ago. Clifford Goldstein, who I'm warming to as a person, not theologically. He'll be back, he says. Don't worry, Clifford, if you're watching. We're all praying for you. We know that you will have a powerful ministry when you leave the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Stop trying to, present a progressive traditional view. Doesn't work. Mark Elmos writes, not really, Peter. Your name may be off the book, but anyway. Yes, sadly, not going live. It says we are live, but we're not on Facebook. So we're just going to have to be open here to YouTube viewers today. Okay, let's finish with some time now on some of your comments. Oh, and they are starting to disappear from view, so I'd better hurry up. Okay, quick, they're going fast and furious. I'd better be quick. How did your family react to your decision? Totally accepted it. No pushback, no problems at all. Rick writes, I came to terms with the fact that the church is all about growing the numbers, but have forgotten that individual people are the mission. People get forgotten once they're baptized. So true. So true. Jude writes, Peter, do your family acknowledge your decision to leave, and have they still had communication with? Yes, 100%. My mum and dad, mum's 88, dad's 93. We go for dinner every week. They see the kids a couple of times a week. There has been zero fallout. My sister still loves and supports my decision. She's left way before me. I don't want to say what my parents believe or don't believe, but yeah, they have got no problems in the slightest. In fact, my mum often writes in the group, I think particularly over at SDA Voice. And Rochelle writes, and don't forget, Rochelle runs our weekly book club, changed times now, Monday, 7 p.m. Australia 12 midday. Church leadership deciding women can't be ordained is them overstepping and putting God in a box, saying God can't speak through women, so we must make them be quiet. It's an insult to God and women. It's so true. Look, honestly, that word insult, I think it's an insult to everybody in the church who supports women's ordination. And I'm shocked, actually, at how ineffective the support women's ordination groups are. They just keep banging on about all the good they've done and how this person's got this job and this person's done that and how someone blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, nothing has changed. It's incredible. I predicted back in 2015 that it would be at least 20 years before it got talked about again. And here we are 10 years. I reckon my prediction, I'm not bragging, but all of them have come true. So some people are sharing their own thoughts there. Mimi writes, my husband was a teacher, principal, and Ed Sup, very active in the SDA Church, and yet not anyone called, which is okay. We left on doctrinal reasons. And I don't even care that no one contacted me. Like I said, I had 2 people. No one officially, no one at all officially. But as a pure, bit of advice, if you want some advice from a former Adventist, you need to lift your game, Adventist Church, in offering pastoral care to those who leave. A lot of them have some pretty traumatic responses and feel left high and dry, and there's nothing. There's no ministry. You might try and get them back or badmouth them or whatever, but there should be an actual ministry within the Adventist Church that looks into not trying to get them back, but just saying, hey, look, you may need to have some counseling. Took me a couple of years to kind of find my identity again. Yes, Jude writes, showing genuine love for people, but the doctrine doesn't meet the output. And excuse me, I was chatting about the diving board. And Chris writes, jump, jump, jump. And Mimi adds that her and her husband both left about 20 years ago. And Ray Doherty writes, some from my last SDA church did reach out and we remain in contact. Some understood, some did not. I've had lots of friends talk about it with me and comment on the show. And I've been largely, look, I had a great time as a Seventh-day Adventist, really. There was an undercurrent of concern about the end of time and not going to heaven and close of probation and all those things, particularly when I was young. But as an adult, I enjoyed my 30 years of traveling around and playing music and meeting wonderful people. My time as a musician within the Adventist Church, I guess is what I should say, was just incredible. Had such a wonderful, wonderful time. I even didn't mind the pushback, which was weekly. You're a devil, you're a tool of Satan. I saw you tapping your feet. I kind of liked that because it, I don't know, back in those days, the progressives in the audience were way more vocal and supportive of what I did. The boomers just above me were quiet because they were still employed. They're supportive now that they've retired. And Jude writes, I can see this is a heartfelt decision for you, Peter, but the feelings and the lies do hurt. Yeah. there's definitely emotion still there. I don't feel hurt, though. There might be other words to describe it. I feel like leadership let me and many other creatives down and continues to. What was people's response to the post? I think we've covered that one. And Richard writes, congratulations on 10 years. Roland wants to join the book club. So Roland, can you send a message to me or Rochelle inside the Facebook group? Just go and click on our names, send us a message and we will add you. Peter, did you expect the adversary to be jubilant with your leaving the truth behind? No, maybe you haven't watched this show or any of my material. I wrote that as a pure way to let people know that I was leaving. It was my last Sabbath because I wanted to draw a line in the sand that people knew publicly so that I didn't have to keep explaining it, so that people could choose to invite me to perform or sing at their churches if they wanted to or not. And yes, I expected adversarial comments and I expected jubilant ones. I would say, though, Sanctuary 70, what do you mean by truth, leaving the truth behind? I went in search of the truth, having realized that the Adventist Church, doctrinally speaking, theologically speaking, doesn't have the truth. Write to me on Facebook, come on the show. And Rick adds, yeah, Ted Wilson created so much collateral damage. And I think Erton Kohler's doing the same, just a bit more business-like, efficient, better with the crowds, and appearing not to be divisive. This is a good one. Rick adds, people are not taught in the Adventist Church to actually study the Bible. I hate when that happens. Yeah, that's true. They're not taught to read it properly at all. Totally agree, says Ray. Every Bible study program is cherry-picked versus pulled out of context to make SDA points. It's so reverse engineered, isn't it? The Sabbath school lesson teaches people to manipulate and cherry pick, sprinkle a dash of Ellenism here and there, and you get a big mess. Imagine that Jesus still misses you and waits for you to turn and see that he's still seeking you. Sanctuary, imagine that Jesus was beckoning me and looks at you and says, Sanctuary 70, leave the false church with the false gospel and the false prophet. Come to the real truth. Imagine that, Sanctuary 70. Jesus misses you. He misses you, Sanctuary 70. For me, it was, says Michael Johnson, undeniable fact that Ellen G. White was a false prophet. She designed, built, and implemented what it is today. We are commanded to test people who claim to be from God. She failed in a big way. Very true. And Roland writes, I'm in the SDA Church now for more than 50 years. Was disfellowshipped because I advised the members against putting up Christmas tree next to the pulpit. I was rebaptized. So you're still in the church? And Vega? Yes, you may have heard some of them now. This is Sister Chats, most ex-SDA lose their friends on the way out. It's quite sad. It's hard to go through. It's interesting. I found the snide, quiet little, as they've realized I'm not coming back, the progressives are starting to turn on me. They don't like being criticized. And I am saying to them, come on, guys, fair enough for back then, not speaking up. I get it. It was vicious, dangerous back then, 46 years ago. But now it's time, before you're all dead and gone, before you have zero influence, it's time, progressives, to actually speak up and make a stand for this gospel Adventism you speak of in a constructive, organized, cohesive way. And just take accountability. Not one progressive has ever said to me on the show, hundreds I've interviewed, has ever said, you know what, we could have done better. Here's some things we could do. They've gone, stop attacking us. There's the big one. Stop telling us what kind of Adventist we can be or not be. We can be whatever Adventist we want to be. Yeah, you can, until you speak up. Then you're shut down. Then you lose your job. Then you lose your standing. Rodrigo Custodio and I are doing another kind of a summary of our questions Seventh-day Adventist pastors cannot answer publicly. And Roland Grew says, was recently removed from eldership because I questioned Mrs. White. Why are you staying? Ellen White is a lovely person and flawed and very human. And she did some really good things. And she was quite inspiring at times. But she also claimed certain messages came from God into her mind in vision. Angels led her to reveal certain things that turned out to not be factual or true at all. So there's some tests there, Roland, you can do, and you might find that she's a false prophet. Do you want to lend your name to a movement that has as their main founder a false prophet? And Sanctuary writes, they've been disfellowshipped. Okay, well, you've got to come on the show, Sanctuary. This is a reason a lot of people stay. Roland stays, believing that their mission is to re-educate the people within. And even then still says that his wife is trapped in it, and the church is so dangerous for people's faith. Run to the hills, run for your life. Sorry to laugh. Michael Johnson writes, Roland, my ex-wife is still trapped in it. That is why she is my ex. And Rick, I'm looking forward. Eventually we will come to season 2, the 11-minute gospel. Yeah, I wonder why Des didn't jettison Ellen. I've chatted to Gillian about that. Danny writes, yep, totally agree. Those reasons and the reasons within the reasons you mentioned. Thank you. Frank writes, progressive and gospel Adventists are afraid to organise because there is less tolerance for them within Adventism than for wacko legalism. Isn't that true? There is more tolerance for wacko legalism than for progressives. Yeah. Cindy writes, rebaptizing is unbiblical. One Lord, one faith, one baptism. Well, I guess rebaptizing into Adventism is a problem. But rebaptizing after Adventism, you might like to try because you were never actually part of a... Oh, dear. Anyway. Yeah, Michael, I think highlights my point there that being baptized in a false gospel church is still legitimate. Yeah, I don't think it is. And yeah, vague. I'm probably going back to questions I've already answered now. I'm trying to play catch up on the questions and comments. The one that stood out was my friend Linnell Laws, who had said it wasn't bold, it was cowardice, because she felt that I was leaving the family and leaving them high and dry. I feel like I'm still doing my music and connecting with people, even though I'm not in the Adventist church, in a way that I had always done. I had always, since the early 80s, played pubs, Baptist, Anglican, Catholic, Adventist, New Age, folk, rock and roll, blues, country, bush dance, Christian, non-Christian, secular. I have been involved for many, many years. And so that hasn't changed. But I think she felt that I was kind of jumping ship and abandoning her and her family. Hopefully people see that that's actually not what I'm doing, where in fact I'm hoping that well, I'm going live somewhere to Facebook. It just keeps streaming. I don't know. Wouldn't it be funny and embarrassing if I'm going live into someone else's group by mistake? Well, anyway, we'll find out. But yeah, that it didn't hurt my feelings because I've always loved how Linnell Laws is so brutally honest. She's always been like that. So it wasn't unexpected. But I've had a lot of people like her, almost try to defame me. You've got an axe to grind. You're just bitter. In many ways, I think I've done more good for Adventism since leaving because I'm helping people be more defined in what they believe instead of just floating along, happy Sabbath tree hugging. So hopefully she was challenged by my replies to her in some private messages she sent. Yeah, that's right. Chris adds, they always think you only leave because you were hurt, not because you have issues with the church. I did not leave. Okay, so like I think Jude said earlier, maybe I might have felt hurt at times, or I'm dealing with similar feelings associated with hurtness or PTSD or trauma or something, but I didn't leave because of hurt or being criticized. I was used to that since my earliest memories of being a creative within the Adventist church. I had been cancelled. power plugs pulled out of the PA system, called the devil, the spawn of Satan, the tool of Satan. I did not leave because of being hurt. I left because I wanted, A, to make a stand for my daughters. I couldn't put my name to a church that treats them to this day as second-class members. And of course, that then opened up my freedom to be able to say, and also, you know what? Your core doctrinal teachings are unbiblical, anti-gospel, blasphemous, like way more so than your average Protestant movement. And there's a lot of belief systems that people hold that I just don't agree with. But Adventism does it in a systematic way, systemic, and it indoctrinates and brainwashes people without them truly realizing it in ways that are very restrictive and stop people thinking for themselves. And the third thing was the fact, so the women ordination, the doctrines, and realizing progressives were just all talk and fluff with no plan, offering false hope. Things are changing. Things are changing. No, they're not. They never will. Oh, you can be any kind of Adventist you want. We're so diverse. No, you're not. You say you are. Come on the show. Share with me your diverse thoughts on Adventism. Find out what happens to you in your church when you do. But yeah, you're right, Chris. Never left because of being hurt. Well, yeah, this is interesting. SDA baptism is initiation into their secret club. Yeah, it feels, when you look back at your vows that you take, they seem a little bit controlling. Barry adds, in my opinion, SDA is the better one compared to J-Dubs and Mormons. It's a little bit like, if you really want to lead a healthy life with your food intake, it's a little bit like saying, well, Kentucky Fried is probably better than McDonald's or one of the other fast food options. Yeah, you might be right, Barry. By the way, if you'd like to support what I do, I don't mind saying, although I did get some donations last week. Thank you very much. I don't mind saying that even though the group has been, growing rapidly on many platforms, I really appreciate that. I really enjoy the engagement. I really enjoy doing this program, 3 times a week. But I do need to cover the costs, and I'm heading towards time as well. In fact, I'm slowly letting go of other work-related things, so I can actually spend time and focus more on SDA Q&A and a few other social media things that I do. So to me, it's like saying, I'm busking, singing some songs for you. Here's my open guitar case. Please throw some coins into it, because it is becoming my main work, my main source of income, my main passion for my creativity, and for, I guess, turning that into some kind of a work situation where I feel like I'm offering content that you guys are enjoying. And so if you have a few dollars spare, just throw it in my PayPal account. It all really helps. And just going to go down, jump a few there. Thank you for your comments. Good chat between each other. Michael added, yeah, the not the ones I'm bringing up right now, but the ones I was reading to you are from that post. And if you search my Facebook personal page, which is open to the public, you don't have to be a follower or a friend to check it out. Just type Peter Dixon, April 15, 2016, and it should come up. And you can have a read if you want. It's at a sociological level, it's amazing. As I said, like there's 1,100 comments there plus sub comments. There was about 14 or 1,500 comments from memory, and that's purely from people going, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't have said what I said," and they've deleted their comments. And that's all right. It's just an important document. And this is true. Barry Wood has said, I wouldn't get, I would not get any positive comments if I left the Jehovah's Witness Church. I agree with you, Barry. I agree that Adventist is the lesser of the three. And Sanctuary even writes, you don't seem to recognize truth. Again, people like you and Peter convince me by your disdain that Seventh-day Adventism is the truth. Our disdain, is it, Sanctuary? Man, I'd love you to come on the show. Come on right now. I'll send you the link. Come and give me your thoughts right now. Come and share the 10th anniversary of my leaving with some of your thoughts. And Dr. Worm 42 writes, I'd love to hear of your spiritual journey since leaving, Peter, and whether you have explored any other local faith communities to receive the blessing of worshipping and serving the community together. I have not. I've not. I might be a bit. I'm pretty sure I have never set foot in another church to just be a part of their meeting or worship unless I was singing at it. And I haven't sought to find another community. I feel like the community that always has been my family, which it is comprised of Adventists, former Adventists, Baptists, Anglicans, rock and roll musicians, new age musicians. There's a culture that I've kind of been a part of for 33 years where I hang out with certain people in that kind of context of worship and spiritual connection and community. Always have, continue to do so at the moment, and always will. I'm not seeking somewhere to join because I've actually feel like I've never been a part of anything. I don't even feel like I was ever a Seventh-day Adventist. I was born into it. I was marinated in it. I was brainwashed by it. I was indoctrinated by it. But when I finally left and was able to find myself again, that me that was there when I found me again was the same me that has been there my whole life and is there right now, and I hope will continue to be until the end. But I don't know, it's hard to explain that, but I've never felt that I need to be part of a module to feel like I belonged. I've never been a part of a module. I've kind of gone in, done my music, shared with people, and then on again, and then come back. or caught up with them in town or local areas or as I've traveled around. So hopefully that answers your question a little bit. Thank you, Jude. Jude writes, Peter, you are a light for those who need to question. I hope that, when people say, oh, how come you think you that can be the judge, or that you're right, or that I'm wrong and I should this or that. I'm not. I'm literally just trying to put light on it's okay to ask questions and to challenge people and to challenge yourself. And SDA Q&A, I hope, is a fairly safe place to encourage people to do that. And I Love Silver said the SDA Church is impossible to change from within. You've said that. Dr. Trenchard said that last week. Yeah, I loved that he said that. I felt like the last maybe half hour or hour of our second conversation, he really opened up. This is one I get a lot. Margarita Ramirez, if you left 10 years ago, why you keep on talking about it? Move on. Why are you telling me what to do, Margarita? What gives you authority over me to do and bow? Yes, Margarita, thank you for saying that. I will do what you say. Move on, move on. Well, the reality is that I enjoy it. I love chatting about content that I know. I gravitated towards doing a YouTube channel with 11 different programs during lockdown, during the whole COVID thing. And of those 11 different programs, SDA Q&A and one other one kind of continued on. And if you are doing any kind of content providing on YouTube or anywhere on social media, you have to know your topic really well. And it turns out that I know about Adventism really well. So, look, I won't be taking your heartfelt advice. I will continue on. I hope to be sitting here in another 10 years saying, here, we're looking back on my 20th anniversary of leaving the Adventist Church and to have still been doing 2 SDA Q&As a week and 1 Good News Fellowship once a week. So thanks for your condescending advice there, Margarita, but I won't be doing what you tell me. Not gonna do what you tell me. And, I'm not being flippant when I say that. Like, seriously. Without any thought, you're just saying you've left, but why do you keep talking about it? Why not? I don't get why people dictate the things I talk about, the things I don't talk about, the things I've done that I started online that I don't do now. But this just worked. There's a community within here. I don't get it. Like, I don't get why people say, oh, you're still an Adventist because you're talking about it, or you should move on. I have trouble computing that kind of perspective. I just have trouble understanding what you mean by that. Honestly, you're talking about it, therefore you're still really an Adventist, or you're talking about it still, you should let it go. I don't compute. I'm sorry. Margarita, tell me more about yourself. What's your background? Oh, and Michael said, here's one reason to show how false the SDA organisation is. Thank you, Michael. That is a good reason. There is no censor, Cindy Lou. I've seen 2 comments disappear. Sadly, my platform that allows you to write chat on the side here that I can see, once it reaches like 100 comments, it just starts making the ones at the top disappear. So no one's deleting. Oh, that's so funny. So it shows how far behind I am on chat. That was about half an hour ago, wasn't it, when I said that I loved hearing my daughters laughing in the background. I love it. The girls are in their right place, Peter. Laughter. Oh, yeah, totally. And Margarita, I take what I'm doing seriously in the sense that I'm trying to turn this into my life's work. Not to leave as a legacy, not to create anything of significance, but just to offer creative output like I once did with music, where I share my content, I sing from my heart, and I hope that people enjoy it enough to put some money in the guitar case as I busk. I'm genuinely trying to step up my game with being more professional, providing more content, and turning this into my career. I know it sounds funny to be the age I am, but I've been doing SDA Q&A for 12 years, I think. 5 years intentionally since lockdown when all my gigs died because of the COVID. So it's a 5-year investment of providing content, creative content about information that I know, hopefully that will help people, create discussion at the very least. But my girls that you could hear laughing in the background, I have to put food on the table for them as well. So this is becoming my job, one I love, absolutely love it. And Barry adds, Sanctuary 70, the reason we like talking about Adventism is because people like you just keep coming along believing you're right. Oh, dear. And yeah, Sister Chats writes, I love that. Kids being kids. Yeah, I'm glad you could hear it in the background. Look, I've read some data that suggests that 70% of Adventists leave the church. If that doesn't mean there's something to talk about here of significance, I don't know what does. And Jude writes, letting kids and even us as adults and oldies, it's good to have laughter. Yeah. And Rick adds, where is that 17-year-old today? Well, can someone remind me of her name? Because I've just realized it's gone into that blend of 1,000 comments. Jewel Tanaki? I'll try and find her. I would love to ask her where she is now, 10 years later. Wouldn't that be interesting? And yes, the comments are from that long ago. Oh, SDA Q&A. My husband, Rochelle, Anonymous, says, hubby has a question for you. If you could go back 10 years, what would you tell yourself? Boy, that's a good question. I would say you are about to have some challenges you did not realize were possible or even existed. You are about to find out that every possible thing you can imagine will be said about you, good and bad. But you will rise above that, onward and upward, dusting your feet off, moving forward, and you will find much joy in sharing your creative passions, and you will reach a point where you go to sleep happy every night. And I reckon I can even date it, April 30, 2022. Lots of epiphanies, lots of working through stuff. I've not had a night since. No matter the challenges, and there've been some big ones, I have gone to bed happy every night. And a lot of that is from simply leaving the Adventist Church because it is such a high control movement. And it was suppressing my freedom to think, to ask questions, demonstrably shutting me and others down when we did. And I yearned to be my own person. So I would say to myself 10 years ago, what you've just done, leaving the church, has set you on a path that you will feel like you have found yourself. So hang in there. And Sanctuary reveals that he is deeply caught in the Old Covenant and the Pharisaical teachings. He's talking to Ray about some comment he made, suggesting that Ray was talking about cheap grace. Do you understand the difference between moral and ceremonial law? Sanctuary, look, honestly, genuinely speaking, please come and hang out with us more often. And you'll get pushback, you'll get some criticism, but you will find something that you are missing, and that is understanding the big picture of the new covenant, the atonement at the cross, and how you are deeply lost in a world of legalism that is messing with you. Hang out with us some more. Rodrigo, who, as I mentioned earlier, we're doing a show together very soon, next week or the week after. Peter, I have a question. What the SDA Church must do to get back former Adventists? Get rid of E.G. White or convert the Sabbath keeping without a salvation weight, or both? Look, I don't think they can do anything to get former Adventists back. Once you leave, something shifts in your head, and people say, oh, he'll be back. Oh, you can't, you can take the boy out of Adventism, but you can't take Adventism out of the boy, when they refer to me. But something shifts in your mind, not in a smug way, but just in a literal way. You just can't go back in. And the reality is they can't get rid of Ellen G. White. So what they try and do is, I'm not wanting to hold up that book. What they try and do is revise her, reclaim her, fit her into the box they want to be. This is the progressives. And they try their best to say Sabbath keeping isn't salvific. But you just can't. You cannot remove Ellen White or water down her authority. And you cannot make an Adventist realize that keeping the Sabbath, even if you say it's not salvific, its whole reason for being, the halo around the Sabbath commandment that Ellen saw in vision, you cannot. you cannot keep Ellen G. White in the mix. And you cannot turn Sabbath keeping into, it's nothing to do with salvation. It's so baked in. Baked in. It's part of the programming. Oh, Viv Davies. We went to uni together. Always remember, Satan doesn't like the truth. Prophecy is being fulfilled. The dragon was wroth with the woman. Are you saying that I'm a fulfillment of prophecy by being shaken out of the Adventist Church? I am part of the Omega. Amen, Peter. Stand up and claim your truth and what you believe in. Thank you, Jude. Dr. Worm writes, look, I'm going to keep persisting and reading some of these because it is my 10th anniversary. If you've had enough, come in, watch the show for a minute, 3 minutes, 10, 20, 1 hour, whatever you want. I'm just creating a document and a celebration of my 10 years. So I'll try and read as many of these comments as possible because they add to this journey. Hi, Peter. What would you suggest people who wish to worship together on the seventh-day Sabbath but don't believe in Ellen and the teachings that came out of her do? Well, I love, someone wrote earlier, where 2 or 3 are gathered. I love those who watch the show. I love cafe culture. And after today's program, I'm going to go up to the nearest cafe and have a coffee and a sandwich. And then I'm coming back to hop in my spa. And my kids are going to jump in as well. It's a swim spa. It's 5.5 meters long. We just sit there and enjoy the afternoon sunlight. And yeah, so cafe culture is where I tend to hang out with like-minded people. I have such a happy and healthy inner world that honestly I can enjoy the Sabbath just sitting there on my own. Oh dear. I definitely don't believe in Ellen White. I think she was a false prophet. I can acknowledge she did good. She had some inspirational things to say. She worked in a very difficult climate and time. So yeah, I can look up to certain things, but I can do that with C.S. Lewis and other people that have, done inspiring things. But her claim to be a messenger of God, come on now. So yeah, so to answer your question, I would say contact a few friends that enjoy hanging out on the Sabbath, don't believe in Ellen or her teachings, and say, let's meet up at Starbucks on Saturday. Or do you want to come over to my place and hang around? Or, watch one of our Good News Fellowship programs with you and a few friends at their place or in the park. Good question. I hope that answers that. I don't believe they will take your name off the roll, even if you request it. That's interesting. So a follow-up to my leaving post, which was in April, on April 15, 10 years ago. At some point soon after, I wrote to my local church where I knew my membership was, and I said simply, hey guys, thanks for the journey. I'm leaving the church. I'm not changing my mind. Don't try and change my mind. When you have the next board meeting and you vote on this, just simply take my name off the roll and then write to me and let me know that you have. At some point later that year, 3 months maybe, I got a message, an email. They said, hey, we're going to miss you, but we have taken your name off the roll. It would be very interesting to ask insiders up there that I know to just go and have a look at the books So thank you, listening ear. I will actually follow that up, and I will get a friend of mine that's on the board to go and have a look. By the way, Dr. Worm, were you saying you want to worship on the Sabbath and you don't believe in Ellen, but that you do believe the Sabbath is an important day to worship on? Let me know. And so listening ear, I will find out if my name is actually still there on the computer. I mean, the other thing with Adventism, when people say, what's theologically wrong with it? Well, the seal of God is obviously the Holy Spirit, not the Sabbath. And the atonement is clearly at the cross once and for all. So many things. Oh, and Cindy Lou says, what is SDA Voice, please, if I may ask? Okay, so when I left the church, I started a small group, which eventually morphed into Good News Fellowship. I already had SDA Q&A going, where I would interview people live. No, I would interview them in my studio and then upload it to the podcast. And I had a Facebook group, which hopefully you're a member of, called SDA Q&A, which has gone from a few members now to I think over 3,000. And around the time of the no vote, I set up Voice, SDA People's Voice. Get up, stand up for your rights is what was going on. So I was still an Adventist, and I set that up so that people could publicly air their views on Adventism. And that group is still flourishing. I don't really have much to do with it. I've set up some great admins there. So the main groups are Good News Fellowship, SDA Q&A, SDA People's Voice, and YouTube here. And we're now trying to build Discord, X, Twitter, Twitch, a couple of other places. So, yeah. Seventh-day Ellenism. And look, Dr. Worm here raises a good point, and I wish this, and I talked to Dr. Ford and Gillian when they had Good News Unlimited, not to be confused with our Good News Fellowship. Good News Unlimited, I believe, in my humble opinion, should have been set up as a different denomination. They said, there was going to be internal fighting and whatnot, and there'll be problems here and there. Yeah, but everyone has problems, but it would have been a safe place for people to go who wanted the kind of progressive Adventism. I believe the church would have been much better off to have good riddance to the progressives, and the progressives could have found a home. Many of them quietly, they had something like 200 in 1984, 200,000 members at Good News Unlimited. Ultimately, I think they couldn't pull it together because some wanted to keep Ellen and some wanted to throw her out altogether. But my Dr. Worm, I think if someone could do that, it's what I've been cajoling for ages, for about a year. Come on, progressives, start your own independent ministry where people can hang out. Do it, do it, do it. Mm-hmm. Thank you, everybody, again for watching today. And I might missing some, but Ray Doherty adds, there's nothing wrong with choosing to keep the Sabbath if you wish. Just don't make it a legalistic requirement for yourself or others. Barry writes, Peter, we all know the real reason you left is because you like bacon and Sunday roast and wanted to desecrate. Now, that is funny. I like what you've said there. But I have not been a big, since leaving so I was fully vegetarian when I was an Adventist. When I left, I thought, I want my kids to get proper nutrients to their brain, and to do that when they're young, they need to be eating meat. So they fully eat meat. And only in the last year, having attempted to many times in the last 10 years, have I been able to go, oh, okay, that bit of chicken tastes good. It's such a new thing for me. Oops, so Nilo is in the house. And great conversations. Bacon is now Hey, Daryl, bacon is now my favorite vegetable. See, I have a suspicion that a lot of people that like bacon were eating meat while they were Adventists on the sly. But I was a real Adventist. I didn't eat meat. And Roland adds, yes, Pete, my wife is continuously threatening to ex me. That's sad. Jude asks, Peter, how do you do things differently for your girls than how you were brought up in the doctrine? Well, so I left when Renee was 2. I think. And Ruby was just born. She was very little. And what I did differently was never mention anything about Adventism to them. No Ellen White, no indoctrination, no Sabbath, nothing. And then Renee and Ruby, when they were in, grade 1 or 2, we had to send them to the local Adventist school because of government zoning here. We eventually took Ruby out and homeschooled, and Renee loves the Adventist school. And her and I just have lots of deep chats about stuff. She came home to me once and said, oh, who's Ellen White? When she was about 7 or 8. So, yeah, I guess what I've done differently is just to totally not make Adventism really a big thing. They know I do the show, and they know that I used to be an Adventist, but I try and not make it a part of their life at all. Peter, read the short comment. You are lying. The rest comment read disfellowshipped SDA, but I know where my home is. SDAism equals 10 commandments plus faith of Jesus. What am I lying about? I thought I read your thing where you said you were disfellowshipped, but you were still an Adventist. I said that. That's what my whole point was. You've been disfellowshipped, but you're still an Adventist. What's wrong with you? You're a really interesting person. You're lying. A lot of traditional Adventists come that approach to me. They pushy. You're lying. You're a tool of Satan. They're like little snakes making jabs. That's the traditional Adventist approach to me. Always has been. Always. Since I was a young musician. Always. That's the traditional Adventist loving approach. You're this, you're that, bang, boom. And the progressives are more nuanced. Hey, why are you attacking us? Are you bitter? So they use gossip and nuanced attacks, whereas Sanctuary, you are revealing yourself that you don't know Jesus. You are revealing that you have not broken away from legalism and Pharisaical teaching. You do not grasp the gospel, the good news. I don't say that to upset you or to hurt your feelings. It's just very clear that you don't understand how to be a loving person. You're just a jabber. Pew, 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 pew. You're a liar. Bang, bang, bang. All these things. You need to lay your burdens at the foot of the cross, young man. Yes, he did reveal that, Dexter. He just bore false witness, calling me a liar, breaking the commandments. You better ask forgiveness to your God, Sanctuary, or you're jeopardizing your salvation, mate. Okay, well, we're coming to a close. Thank you, Jude. Should start a united mission. Well, I think Good News Fellowship is that. I think small group gatherings are where it's at, where people are given a sense of what is the common ground, but with a broader sense that they can use their own mind to choose things. My common ground is 4 Gospels, the teachings of Jesus. People can then extrapolate to Paul and the miracles and the supernatural and Revelation and everything they want to, but a Good News Fellowship united mission statement is let's gather together around the common ground and listen to other people extrapolate on that, but still break bread together. So yeah, come and find us. Good News Fellowship every week. Sanctuary's banging on about something. Good to see Andy in the chat. Just doing a quick scroll through. Thanks for your support, everybody. Really appreciate it. And good chat going on there. So you can also listen to SDA Q&A Season 1 if you want over on the podcast. It's not on YouTube. And I'm currently uploading Season 2 onto YouTube. And we started going live to YouTube a few episodes into Season 3. So Season 1, available on the podcast. Season 2, slowly becoming available. We have our own channel. You can find that very easily. Well, I'm going to head off. I'm due at the local cafe. Gonna enjoy the sunshine. Nice latte, full cream milk. And I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. I think Christy Williams might be on tomorrow, sharing a bit more about how to overcome trauma and PTSD from your Adventist experience, if that's you. And those who say to me, I've never had that, that's fine. Good. I love the cultural Adventist. You know, I love that little intersecting group there, the green one. They're the cultural Adventists. I'm not criticizing you. I'm not having a go at you. I'm having a go at the traditional Adventists who haven't turned Ellen White. They've continued the theme of Ellen White as being a person of ongoing authority, that she was a genuine prophet, and that her testimonies are amazing. I'm critiquing and challenging them. I'm critiquing and challenging the progressive Adventist who, the big tent, that's not my Adventism Adventist. And I'm saying, well, come on then. I'm not even trying to attack or deconstruct. I'm saying, come on, shout it from the rooftops. Come on, shout it from the rooftops, please. And then there's the leadership. They're the four main groups of Adventism. I'm pretty sure any version that you have that's outside of that, I can fit into one of those four. So, yeah, there we go. Cultural Adventists, awesome. Enjoy. Love your music. Haystacks, well done. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Don't forget to join Good News Fellowship on Thursday night, 6:30 p.m, Friday, 11:30. Dr. Clinton Baldwin will be with us. So until then, I will say farewell. And wow, we made 2.5 hours. What a surprise. 10 years out of the church. And I've got some good memories. Had some brilliant times, especially with music. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of brilliant gigs that I will cherish and remember, and had friendships built around those. I absolutely loved it. I just disagree that women should be treated as second-class citizens of the Adventist Church, and I believe that those who want to ignore that and be silent about it are culpable, complicit. And I think that the core doctrines of Adventism, great if you're cultural and you never hear about it, but you know, you're downstream of some pretty cray material. And progressives, come on, get off your backsides, organize something. Honestly, start something. So I'm off to the cafe, sit in the spa, and I'm going to ponder, do I engage with that post again because it'll bump it to the top, or will I just leave it as a landmark historic moment frozen in time? See you, everybody. So good to connect with you today, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.